Voila! Everyone, and welcome to the Amanda Nothando Show. I'm Amanda, and thank you guys for watching. I am so super excited about today's episode because joining me today is a talented local artist here in Edmonton. Not only did I invite her today to share her brilliant work with us, but to also retell her story, from which was documented some years back, and that did not stop her from becoming the talented artist she is today. So then I was like, oh my gosh, let me just have her today. Please help me welcome Sherry. How are you?
Hi.
Welcome on the show, Sherry.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is so awesome to have you here. When I saw you reach out, I was like, I need, different content too, right? And to me, your story was just mesmerizing. It was breathtaking. It was scary, but good at the same time, because it's something that you can help people out there, right? Mm-hmm. And it happened to you for a reason. So let's get to talk about it, right? That is so great. So let's begin with who Sherry is, just in a nutshell.
Oh my, tough question right off the bat.
Right?
I feel like I've had one of those lives where I've had so much happen that that's hard to really sum up, but I do try to stay positive and learning new things all the time.
Right.
And just not forgetting where I came from, just so it's at some point will be a big picture, and I could just use everything that I've learned over the years to hopefully help people one day.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That is great and brief and to the point. I like that. So I watched your documentary on your life, right? Which was terribly heartbreaking for me. Like I told you off camera that I've been through abuse as well, right? Mm-hmm. And domestic violence is a very sensitive topic to many people out there, especially like women globally. So let's briefly talk about what you witnessed your mother go through, which unfortunately eventually led to her death.
Well, she was a very gentle soul, and it was just very tough to watch her over the years try to keep that balance of the extreme violence that was happening, and the just trying to still be a mom, and just being a positive mom, and doing all the right things, and raising 4 kids, and just, trying to keep in line with her Christianity, and just all of that stuff was very sad and humbling in a way to watch, but it was also very empowering too, because the strength she had to maintain.
Right.
Just to maintain that for so long.
Right. And how many years was it?
27. They were.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
Yeah, a long time to hold on to all of that fear, and to still look at your children with the love and compassion, and to not lose all of the good in light of being surrounded by all of that negative scary stuff, she stayed pretty well rounded as a person. To me, that's amazing. So
was there a moment that you kind of spoke to her or asked her, like, why are you staying in this? Or for sure. Yeah. As a teenager, when you start to become more vocal as a person in general. Yeah, right.
So I did, and obviously, so much was hidden from me. The underlying stuff that comes with abuse, the stuff you don't know. Okay. I obviously saw a lot of horrible things, but there's a bigger picture there within the relationship that I was just 16 and didn't really understand, right? So. I did ask her, and obviously didn't get much of an answer, right?
Right. Yeah, just to protect you as well.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
I obviously didn't, and that's understandable now looking back.
What? Yeah. Yeah. When you think about it, when you
don't bring your kids into things
like that. Oh yeah.
And she probably had to just keep things so separate. Like she's just trying to survive.
Right. And then at the same time, when I think of it as well, another way to look at it was for you maybe not to hate your dad, in as much as he may have been whatever it is that was going through himself, right? That could have been another factor.
Yeah.
Wow. So in what way did this affect you? Like the whole situation, was there a way that it affected you as a young girl, and then moving on into adulthood?
I think I was very angry.
Yeah, I bet.
For a long
yeah.
time.
I bet.
It was also very empowering in some ways because really when you survive something like that, not a lot of people can mess with you after. You know,
right?
You know you survived.
Yeah.
Right? You know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And so in that way it's empowering, and I never did forget that. I still think about that sometimes when something comes up in life, and I sort of have the liberty to say, you know, to myself, not, you know, just to myself in an empowering kind of way. Like I've been through the worst.
The worst. Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah, of course, right? Yeah.
And it's still tough though to dip your toe back in the water, you know, trying to survive something and making yourself uncomfortable. Yeah. You know, goal wise, life wise, because you do anything that's really worth it. Is there's a little bit of that. Do I want to do this? Like, what could go wrong? You know, like, there's all of that, right? There's those, that challenge, and sometimes it's funny because sometimes that feeling can almost feel like it did back then a little bit, and so you don't want to, but you have to. You have to. If you want any progress in life, you have to. You have to go past fear and be and be so uncomfortable. Yeah. So, do you know or remember what triggered the violent behavior of your father towards your mother? Do you have any idea, or did you think it was just normal then? No, I never thought it was normal. Okay. No, I never did. Because you can always feel love. When there's love, you can feel it, right? Yeah, and I think that I just as a person was very in tune to how I feel, and if this feels bad, it has to be bad. Yeah. I think I just was naturally kind of like that. Okay. But what triggered him, you know, I don't know. I honestly believe, looking back, it's been years and years, and I've examined lots of different things, read lots of different books, and not on that necessarily, but just on people. Okay. You know. And I really think that he probably had something undiagnosed. I think. Yeah. I think. And normally, like to get to that extent, obviously, like you're saying, probably may have not been diagnosed with. Yeah. Not to say something. Just some sort of. We may not know. Disorder. Yeah. Right. And I just think it was probably untreated, and we really need to look at mental health in this country. Thank you. It's so important. And not just in this country, like I'm also yet to bring a guest who's going to talk about mental health, because also in Africa, it's something that they really don't focus on. And when I got here, I was like, wow. You know what I mean? There are lots of workshops, lots of mental health hospitals and stuff like that, which is very amazing, right? And mental health is actually a big issue, but some people tend to ignore it, and it will lead to crazy stuff, right? Yeah. And so I totally agree with what you just said. And social media can be ugly when it comes to things like that. And it's getting worse. Yeah, it's getting worse. You'll see things, people say things like, oh, that's no excuse, and you know, it needs to be addressed. It does. On some level, it is an excuse if you're not, if your perception is completely off. Right. And, you know, like, we really need to look at it. We really need to help people out there, so. That's true. Okay, so, the scariest bit when I was going through the documentary. So your father shot your mom, right, leaving her paralyzed before taking his own life. Any idea what may have led him to get to that extent? Well, we left. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah, because it doesn't say. We left in the middle of the night. Okay. Yeah. Because she was just done. Yeah, he was getting to the point where it was the threats were more, if you don't do this, like he was threatening to hurt children and his children and stuff. And it was getting, I think it just pushed her to the point where she probably thought to herself, it's going to be either my children are going to die or I leave. I think that she probably was starting to feel, and so that pushed her. Oh wow! That is so. It gives me goosebumps when I think about it sometimes, but then everything happens for a reason, right? In as much as it may have ended up ugly, but
it has taught you something. Your siblings as well, I bet, right?
Oh yeah, you learn from everything. For sure you do.
Everything, right?
Yeah, for sure you do.
Was there a moment in your life that you were worried you might get abused someday, or what were your feelings towards men in general after witnessing
It's
all
varied
this?
over the years.
Okay. Right. Okay. Protecting yourself obviously would be the first thing.
My first few relationships were, I think they were like I had with men that were abusive, but then over the years it's been less and less and less and less.
Okay.
And the more I learn, the more I learn to recognize.
To recognize from the get-go,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And then sometimes, are there any moments that you've actually felt you're bringing your past into the present? Say maybe you met somebody, and not that I'm saying it's not as bad, abuse is abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you easily become paranoid bringing the past into the present.
Yes, paranoid for sure.
Yeah. But then was there a moment where you're thinking you're the one that's overdoing it? Or
Oh yeah, I do have that occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
And how do you handle that?
I try my best to look at it outside.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, like I do any kind of problem. You know, we've all got girlfriends. Sometimes I'll run things by and like, what do you think of that? You know, and
Okay, yeah, it helps too.
Yeah, it
Another
does.
perspective.
And then there's always just the, if it feels wrong, it is wrong. You can't ignore all of those feelings, right? I have to remember how far I've come to. Like, if this was 20 years ago,
Okay.
it would be different. But I've made a lot of progress now.
Okay.
And sometimes those feelings are instincts, and sometimes it's just, you know what, it's not right. It doesn't feel
And a
right.
woman's
Maybe the
instinct
timing's
is
not right.
always right. A woman's instinct, always.
I would say back then it would be more paranoia. Now I'm kind of over that now. I don't think it's too bad at this point. But
Right. So back then, would I be right to say that you were relieved or glad that he shot himself? Have you come to a point of forgiving him? Because forgiveness is the biggest thing you can ever do for yourself.
I have, for sure.
Right? And how did you go through that process? When did you decide, okay, this is it, I need to forgive him? Was it affecting your life?
It's not a one-time thing.
Okay.
No, it wasn't like a one-day thing.
Uh-huh.
It was as life events come up.
Yeah.
And I don't have a mother.
Okay.
I have a daughter now, right? So,
Uh-huh.
and as those life events come up, sometimes I'm re-forgiving.
Right.
And that's just the way it is.
Okay.
And maybe I'll go through that again when I have a grandchild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it'll be that moment again.
Right.
It's easier and easier,
Uh-huh.
but you do it over and over because there's new realizations in life.
Right.
You know, and you grow older, you get smarter, the picture gets bigger,
Yeah.
and you are re-forgiving, I think.
Forgiving.
Yeah,
Mhm.
new things come up that make you upset. Make you
Right.
upset at him for what he did.
Now let's move on to
Sure.
church now, right? Because I know was it after your mom died, church had to take care of you, or was it during when your mom was in hospital or fighting for her life, that church had to take care of you, but then things went south?
They stepped in and helped her in the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so were they supposed to take care of you guys, or how did you end up homeless from
Well,
the whole church situation?
I don't know how it happened on the church side, but there was some people that were helping us, and I think that it prevented other organizations from stepping in, possibly.
Okay.
And so.
Because you may not know the background, didn't know what was going on then.
Yeah, like I don't even know how that happened, but it could have been one of those things where everybody thought someone was helping and really. Yeah, maybe it was more like that. There was a few people that really did help with all the paperwork and stuff like that, but they were friends outside. They did go to the same church, but I don't think they did it on behalf of the church.
Right.
So then I ended up in a relationship, and then he was kind of not so great, and so then I just ended up homeless after that. There's nowhere to go.
And so how then did you move on from being homeless to starting a new life and thinking, and how did you put your life together?
Just piece by piece. There was some very good people that helped me out a little bit here and there, just with a place to stay.
Okay.
Short term.
Yep. Yeah.
And I eventually enrolled myself in school.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
And they end up paying for your rent and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, I was off and on though, homeless for short periods of time. So it wasn't just sort of like a one step out of it. It was kind of like an off and on until things just sort of eventually kind of worked out a little bit.
Oh wow. Okay. And so
It's so funny, but it was like there isn't really much. That's kind of a hard one to, because it was over the course of several years where, you know, being homeless and not having the support is very difficult, because you get one thing in line, you drop the ball on the other.
Yeah, yeah.
So then you go and you get this in line, and then you lose the other three things. So then now you're over here and trying to get one of those three things in line, and you drop that.
Yeah.
Nothing comes together
All
at the
at
same.
once.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Because if you think about your life
Mm-hmm.
and how you get through day to day, you don't do it all on your own.
Oh no, you can't.
Nobody does it all on their own.
You can't. You can never do that on your own. Like even.
Maybe some of us out there do, but not
I don't think so. I have a friend. I have friends. I have a friend who, like you're saying right now, she's a believer. Like she's a strong believer. I really applaud her. I'm a believer too, right? And you know, she lost a very loved, like a loved one, somebody really close to her. And you know, when you ask how you feeling today, and the first thing she said to me, she's like, I don't know how people do it on their own, because had it not been for God,
yes.
I don't know how.
Let me tell you something. I was walking down the street one day.
Yeah.
I hadn't eaten in a couple of days.
Oh,
I did have a
wow.
little apartment. I was walking to my little apartment.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the money for food.
Yeah.
And I was walking just down the street alongside a graveyard.
Okay. Wow.
And I was just thinking about how hungry I was. And this was back when there was $2 bills.
Wow.
That's how long ago it was.
I've never seen Canadian $2 bills.
And honestly, I looked down and there was a $2 bill blowing straight towards me. And
wow.
And honestly, it just landed at my foot. And I picked it up and
wow.
Yeah, it was.
And then it meant a lot
like
too. And then a $2 bill meant a lot too, like especially
if you hadn't eaten in a couple of days. Yeah, it was just there was moments like that throughout my life for sure.
Wow.
Like little things like that. And I know it's just $2, but
yeah. Oh, it's better than nothing.
You know, felt like something bigger at that moment.
Yeah.
Too,
oh yeah.
right?
I bet. Yeah.
So there's been interesting things along the way that make you believe.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So now speaking of believing and what went through it with the church and you being homeless, was there a moment where you thought of letting go of church or letting go of just religion on its own, or?
I don't know that I am religious. I'm probably more spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that anything can be run well or run poorly, and a church is not an exclusion of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they can be in transition.
Yeah.
And things can be dropped, and things can be, you know. So I don't really judge all churches by what happened with the one that I went to. Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
No,
wow, that is great.
I think there's beautiful people in that building, and there's probably some troubled people in that building, and it's probably just like anywhere else you go, any job you go, or you know, it's
where you find nothing perfect. Really.
No, nothing. You're never gonna find that anywhere.
Ever.
You know.
Right.
And church is no exception to that. It's
that
a great place to be.
Yeah.
But you know, as long as you are getting what you need out of it, and you know, so
it's just about you as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is great. So after all this drama, the past, witnessing all this pain, you decided to turn things around, which we're now talking about, like getting into art, right? Becoming an artist. How then did you turn all that negative energy? I know it may have taken a long time to do, but how did you manage to turn that negative energy from the past and then living a fulfilling life with purpose right now?
Well, I always did the art. It was always there.
Okay.
Got me through a lot of nights where
I
couldn't sleep, and you know, you're listening to things you don't necessarily want to listen to.
Okay.
So I've taught myself over the years that was probably how I just focused so much on that, right? Just in that situation.
Okay.
I think that I turned it around. I think it all started when I realized I lost everything right away. I lost everything, right?
Okay.
I just remember something telling me to every chance you get, find what you can that's positive. And sometimes it didn't seem like much, but I counted it.
Right.
I just counted it. Like, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be sitting here with this new person I met.
That's true.
And I would just count that as one thing.
Okay.
You know, that's one thing that's positive that's come from this, right?
Yeah.
And every moment that I could do that, everything that came my way that I could say, okay, there's a positive side effect of this horrible thing.
Right.
I just counted it in, and I counted it in.
Wow.
And eventually, it starts to feel like you've got a whole bunch of positive stuff.
Yeah.
Not that, thank God this happened.
Yeah.
Never gets to that, obviously. But it sure starts to feel easier and easier.
And easier.
Yeah. And I feel like that was a bit controversial because when I try and tell that to people who've lost, because sometimes I guess they don't understand what I mean when I'm saying that. But
yeah.
What I mean is that
it's not easy anyway to understand.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in a situation like that, it's very easy to feel like there's nothing positive here.
That's true.
Absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah.
But that's not true. It takes a lot to search. You have to look really, really hard.
Yeah.
But nothing's 100% negative.
That is so
There's going
true.
to be a positive outcome to
Out of
every
everything.
action. You have to really examine it.
Yeah.
And I hope that nobody misunderstands that and
Yeah.
says to themselves watching this that how can you say that? What I'm going through is horrible.
Yeah.
Yes, like of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But something positive will arise.
Will arise from
You have to watch for it. You
Right.
have to watch intently for it.
Right. Oh wow, that is great. So what type of art do you do then?
I do several types of art, but what I'm mostly passionate about is the pencil stuff.
Ah.
Pencil work that I do.
Yeah.
Usually there's like hidden images, things like that.
I was looking actually at your website, what you're mentioning
Yeah.
right now. So it's one of those. It's easier when you view it from from afar, and you're like, you can see the hidden image behind the the art, the paint, especially the paintings. I saw some of the paintings with buildings and stuff like that. Or was there one with was it a bird or eagle? I thought I saw one.
Yes, I had one.
Right?
Little one.
Yes. And then I
Yeah.
was like, wow.
I like to do the kind of thing that it's like I have one with mountain scene and then there's
Yes.
trees and
Yeah.
the birds and
Nature.
the birds turn into the trees. I just like to,
Wow.
because I just believe everything's connected. Energy's all connected. I like to
Right.
kind of feel that when I'm painting.
Right. Wow, that is so great. So when did you discover or decide that you wanted to become an artist? Like, make it is it your full-time job or?
No, I work full time elsewhere for the school
Okay.
board.
Okay, but when did you discover though your passion for art? I know you mentioned that you did it. You loved art even when you were young, but then just doing it now to sell at the art galleries and stuff like
I
that.
think I fell into it over time, just realizing, I'd walk away for a while and realize like it calling me back.
And you can never run away from it if it's your calling, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of realize those things, I think, as you grow up, that that is what passion is. Okay.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't know the definition of it before, I guess, but I guess that's what it is. It just
Right.
keeps calling me back. So I hope to eventually use it to help people.
Yeah.
And that have gone through different things. Like I believe really trauma is trauma. It's all generally, it's not really specific a lot of times. Like when you're traumatized, I think you're just traumatized.
You're traumatized, that's it.
Yeah, and I would definitely like to help people out there and hopefully connect with some organizations in the future
Okay.
and donate some paintings and things like that. I'm kind of working to have some stuff in my brain that I'm hoping to work out and
Oh wow.
within the next couple of years. Yeah.
That is so great. So where do you showcase your brilliant work of art? Do you have different galleries or?
Right now, I am at the Lotus Gallery,
Okay.
the little gallery on 124th Street.
Okay.
So I'm there, and
nice,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything showing in there right now, but
Okay.
I will be submitting in the future
Okay.
to be in there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Please do keep us on the loop.
Oh, I will.
Oh yeah, I would love to come. So today's episode was so intense from the beginning, in as much as we had to loosen up a little bit and talk about your passion, about your baby right now, which is art, and you know where you're going. And I'm glad that after going through all what you went through, right, you managed to see the bigger picture, and you've been mentioning that you have to look at the positive out of the negative, which is the most important thing. And I wish the viewers would, whoever is going through a lot of stuff, would find a positive in, right? So what word of motivation or advice would you give personally, right, after all this has been said and done, going through what you've gone through, and obviously facing stuff by yourself as well, not through your mom, and then having to always think of the positive? What motivational phrase, statement, or advice could you give to the viewers, or whoever is going through, say, maybe abuse or any difficult moment?
Let's see. I think that for sure, like sticking with looking for the positive that's coming your way, or recognizing it when you see it, and but I think it's important too not to look at other people and think, I want to be, they're perfect, I want to be like that. No, you can't be perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. Just try and be better tomorrow than you are today.
And you don't know what's happening behind closed doors of that person, right?
Yeah.
They're showing you what you want to see.
Yeah, and
what they want you to see.
You know, I wear my heart on my sleeve, I think, a little too much, and I don't hide very easily how I'm feeling and what I'm feeling. But
you're not the only one!
I have to remind myself all the time that other people hide things really, really well.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
And I wonder how they do it though.
Yeah, I I'm not sure I want to. I feel I'm just gonna have to be who I am.
Be you!
Yeah.
Be authentically yourself, really. I can tell you that there's moments where I was like, I think I need to. But then again, it doesn't help. If you're thinking it, might as well say it.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like too, a lot of times when people go through tragic things, like, and you've probably heard this before, and I've heard this many times, like you just feel like when you walk into the room, you never feel like you're on par. You've got this thing,
Right.
this dirty thing, this secret or whatever that just makes you. But I think that we need to brush that away and realize that nobody's perfect, and we're not perfect, and we shouldn't be trying to be perfect.
Right.
We should just be trying to be more authentic.
Yeah. Just
And
be yourself.
Yeah. Right.
And it's easier that way. It's easier for you to attract yourself to attract your tribe, per se, if I should put it that way, right?
Yeah.
Because of your authenticity and
And don't be afraid to learn from people.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
to
yes.
Be humble. Right?
Hallelujah! Thank you. But
That's
I like
right.
it. Did you hear that? I always, to me, humbleness comes first, really, right? And it's easy for me to even interact with people who are humble. It's one of those, oh yeah, what can I learn from you too? First of all, you've shown me your humbleness, so there's more that I can learn from you, other than just you showing me your humbleness.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so amazing, and thank you so much for your word of encouragement. But before
Thank
we
you.
leave and all this, let's put the tension behind us. I have a tiny little game. I'll say, this is the fun part. This is the fun part, which just requires you to just finish a statement.
Okay, that's
From, and sometimes, let me warn you, you might get a crazy one. A really crazy one that I'll be like, oh, it wasn't me. But good luck to that.
Okay.
Right? Good luck to you on that one. And only 3 will be fine.
Okay.
And let's see what you're gonna get today. So, pick one. I'm not gonna tell you which color is the crazy one, but just try. And then you can finish off the statement. It's according to what you believe, if it's a very decent statement to finish.
If I were a pet, I'd be.
Oh, okay.
It's
Cute.
probably a dog.
Okay. Why a dog?
Because I'm very loyal. Dogs are very
Right.
loyal.
Yeah.
But I would be somewhat of a defiant dog, probably.
Oh.
I don't like other people's rules. I like my rules.
You okay?
I have to be honest, it's true.
Right?
Okay.
That's great. Okay, that's nice. So, what? Another one. A second one. A second
Oh,
one.
I got two.
Which one do you
I'll
want?
take the yellow.
The yellow one. Okay, from the pink. Yeah.
Fashion to me is,
Ooh.
that's easy, it's expression.
Ooh!
I find I get a little crazy.
And I'm
when
asking
I-
somebody who does art, really.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Expression. Let's go.
I find I get a little on the crazy side when
Yeah.
I'm not creating something.
Okay.
If I'm not working on a painting or something like that, my fashion gets a little nutty.
Uh-huh.
And then as soon as I have a painting going, I tone it down a little bit.
So you put the energy towards the art there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think so, just naturally. Like I could have noticed that over the years. So.
Oh wow, that is so amazing. Expression, fashion. There we go.
Alright.
And the last one.
Oh, this seems like a long one. Okay, let's see.
Hope it's not a crazy one. Okay, I don't like your eyes.
Why?
Let's see. Okay, yeah, okay, there we go. Now
I'll teach you a game from my childhood. I don't even know. I can't remember a
you
game.
can remember?
Shoot. What did we play? You mean like play it now or just tell you about it?
Just to tell me about it and why you liked it.
Oh, okay. Let's
Yeah.
see. What game did I play when I was little? Oh, we used to play. Oh, I got one. I don't want anyone to do this one.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But
But
let's see. We used to play TV.
why wouldn't you want anybody to do it though?
Well, we used to play. Okay, I'll tell you the crazy one we used to play. We used to play. We call it Foursquare.
Okay.
And it was like 4 people.
Yeah.
And we'd get a whole bunch of skipping ropes, the really, really long skipping ropes, because they're kind of stretchy. They're like a bunch of rope.
Right, yeah.
And we would put them behind our back in a square. So it'd be in a perfect square. And
Okay.
then the 2 people on this side would pull
Okay.
back, and it would fling these 2 people, and they would run, they'd pull back, and so you'd fling each other back.
Are you kidding?
And we would play that for hours. I don't know why. And then, I mean, of course, we'd break all our skipping ropes, so we'd be
Yeah.
tied, and then make knots.
Do it again.
There you go.
So would you actually go for it again now?
Would I play that again now?
Yeah.
Definitely would play that again now.
But then you're saying, okay,
Maybe
don't
with a helmet.
But then it's funny, it's funny how when you're younger, it's easier to take the risks, and you don't even think about it. It's
No,
just-
I don't even think about any hurting myself or anything. No way.
And then now you're talking about a helmet. Were you
Yeah.
thinking about having a helmet back then?
No,
No.
not even a little bit. Yeah.
Oh my god, that is so amazing, and that was funny the last bit. So it's just one of those, just to listen up the moment, especially tensed up conversations. And it was so lovely to have you, and
Thank
thank
you
you
for
so
having me.
much. And I look forward to your art, to see more of your artwork and whatever. And thank you so much for coming. It was such a pleasure to have you here and to get to learn more about about pain, and then moving from pain to purpose on its own. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
To the viewers, thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, any questions about today's episodes for Sherry, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will actually put her social media down below here, so you can go ahead and ask her directly if you don't want to put it on YouTube, if that's okay with her, right?
Yeah.
And she'll be glad to help you in any way that she can. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe on the subscribe button somewhere here. I'm not sure where it is right now. Right? And thank you so much for watching. Remember, little girls with dreams become women of vision. Take care, and God bless you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.